are back for episode 3 of the complete NES library, licensed, full set. So, one of my good friends, Retro Bobby, pointed out to me that there was actually a couple left out, and that's because I forgot that I have like 25 CIB games that I keep separate, and I keep some of the more expensive games separate, displayed differently. So I did forget about that. So if there's a few missing, that's why. So let's start it off where we left off last time. Captain Skyhawk, Casino Kid, Casino Kid 2. Now that's one of the more rare ones. I think that one's like 100, maybe sometimes 120 even. Castlean. I guess that's how you pronounce that one. Castle of Dragon. Brother Sam actually got that one for me. I remember that. Pretty good looking label. Castle Quest. A lot of these I don't know much about. Now, Castlevania I do know about. I love the Castlevania series. You got Simon's Quest. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. It's actually difficult. I think, Lil D, didn't Angry Video Game Nerd do an episode on that one too?
He hated that.
Yeah. So you'll notice one of the Castlevania is missing. That's because it's a CIB game. So I'll do a different video on that.
It's not because it's the missing game.
Championship Bowling? Cool, exciting. The Chess Master. I actually am a huge fan of chess though, so that one's actually cool with me. I'm going to throw a few more up here, and we'll see what we got. Alright, next up is Chippendale Rescue Rangers. That is the first one. It's the cheaper one. I think it's like $10. It's a really good game though. I do recommend it. It's a fun game. And then you have Chippendale Rescue Rangers 2, which is the more expensive one. Last time I checked, man, I think it was like $150, $175, I think. So that one's a pricier one. That one's kind of expensive. Chubby Cherub. That one's also a little bit pricey, like $70, $80. I'm not really sure why either. That one I never understood. Circus Caper. I actually don't know anything about that game now that I think about it. City Connection. Decent game. It's alright, I guess. Classic NES. Demon Head. Now, I did pop this one in there, and we actually ended up playing this for like a half hour. It's actually Clash at Demon Head, but
what is it?
Clash at Demon Head.
I don't remember that.
We popped it in. It was actually a decent game. Played it for like 30 minutes. Classic Concentration. Cliffhanger. Funny story about this one. This game is... It's extremely hard to get... Sorry, I'm trying to focus in on there. It's extremely hard to get this game with the top label glued down. And the reason being... I don't know the exact reason, like, scientifically, you know what I'm saying? But, like, I have a feeling that they used, like, weaker glue on those games, because Cliffhanger and Wario Woods are both like that. And you can't really, it doesn't matter even if you buy them, like, for example, we bought a Wario Woods,
like, in box.
brand new, sealed, in box, and opened it up just to see if they came like that from factory. And guess what? They did. They did. It was popped up. So that means that they're actually shipping them. They might have been sealed when they shipped them from the factory, but the glue's so weak that it pops up. So that's why that is so hard to get. I would assume that that's just like Wario Woods. I know Wario Woods was either the last or really close to the last NES game printed And I don't know about Cliffhanger. I would assume that it came later. I forget. But yeah, I would say that's why. So I'm gonna throw a few more games up. We'll see where we're at. Codename Viper. Look how aggressive he looks. Or she? Can't even tell. Well, either way, for those of you who don't know, Capcom back in the NES era was a pretty dominant, as far as like good games go, they were pretty dominant. Almost every game they came out with was at least playable. So they were really reliable. You could count on them making good games. So any of those that you should probably, if you're just starting out and you want to play games, they're never a bad choice. Okay, Color a Dinosaur. So I got a message, which again I told you guys that I always enjoy getting, messages, chatting it up and stuff. I got 2 messages. About wanting, which I can relate to, by the way, wanting me to point out games that were expensive, and by expensive, I'm assuming you mean like around 100. That's just like a good mark. I mean, $50 is expensive, but I'm just saying like there's quite a few games that are worth 50 and above on NES. It's an insane library. But anyways, Color a Dinosaur, I think is $100. But I was happy to get that one because, I mean, look at it. That's a cool label. It's unique. You actually literally just color a dinosaur. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you literally only, it's like a color thing. It's like literally just a color thing.
It's like a color book on the NES.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
All you do is only dinosaurs.
Conan, that is a pretty good looking label. Look at that. That's pretty detailed. Conflict. So I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start telling you guys a little more about like how I got the games as I go through these instead of just reading off the title, because I mean it's kind of boring. Contra. That is, I gotta say it's probably the best shooter. I don't really know how you could argue that. The best shooter of the NES era. I mean, it was amazing. All angles. Real quick, Contra Force. That's an expensive one. I think it's about $85 to $100. Cool World. Also, I told you guys that I have standards. I do. But if they have like Blockbuster stickers like that, or rental stickers, like let's see, I think Conan had one. Go back over there. I keep those on there. I like them. I think it's part of history, which is why I'm doing it anyways. So, yeah, that one's about 85. Actually, Cool World I think is up there too. I think it's like 50 to 70. Now that I remember. That is a clean looking label. That one is really glossy. I wish I had better lighting today, but unfortunately the lighting's a little weird in here today.
Yeah, because today's a weird day.
Yeah, it's kind of gloomy outside. But back to Contra real quick. So, Contra, I'll let you look at my pops while I ramble on. Contra was such an incredible shooter because it allowed you to shoot from like all angles. It wasn't just a individual, like shoot straight, shoot sideways.
I know that game. You can like
shoot at angles and all that kind of stuff. Like it was like one of a kind at the time. All shooters, ended up being based on kind of that. That was like the standard, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So definitely check out Contra. I mean, that's a must-own, I feel like, for Nintendo NES. Here's my little, the Beast from Sandlot. I love that one. I know this is an NES video, but I was rambling on, so I was just letting you check those out. So I'm going to pop a few more up there, and we'll see where we're at. Alright, so if I pronounce any game wrong, just understand that I am not perfect, and some of the font are weird to read. So, I just wanted to point that out, because I got a hateful message last video, and I don't know why they insist on hating. I'm just trying to show the community games. Not claiming that I'm a pro or perfect. Just trying to show off some retro games. So if I don't pronounce something right, my bad. Darkman, that was like in my last like 30. That one was hard to find for some reason. Even on eBay for like a fair price. It's ridiculous. I don't know why. Darkwing Duck, I left it in this plastic case and sleeve because I wanted to show you, there I am. I wanted to show you that's how I keep a lot of the real minty games or expensive games. But I usually take them out for the video. But I just wanted to show you that that's actually how they're stored. They're not stored just, you know, loose like this. Daydream and Davy. I like that label. Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on that. Didn't look like that good of a game, to be honest with you. None of these are overly expensive or rare. That's why I'm not really stopping on any of them. I think that one was one of my later ones. And over here, sorry. This label right here is so cool. This was one of my last 50. And again, it doesn't mean that it's like overly rare. It's just different for everybody. So some of them remain the same, of course, but some people get some early, some people don't. Like I got Little Samson. Little Samson was like my 10th game that I got. So it's different for everybody. But I'm gonna keep going. You know what I mean? I think I'm gonna keep going and do a couple more rows. I'm feeling it today. Taking a trip down memory lane, going through these. So I'm gonna throw some more up here. We're gonna go through a couple more rows. What do you think? What do you think, Lil D?
I think it'll be fine.
Cool. Let's get some more up here. All right, we're back. So a lot of these games I got. So how I did NES. Might as well tell a little story while we're checking them all out. I got quite a few, probably a couple hundred from my local game store. Trying to, you know, help out local businesses and brick and mortar stores. Then I got a bunch, side note, that's about $100 game, for you guys curious. That's a pretty expensive one. I like the game. Angry Video Game Nerd did an episode on that game. But I kind of like that game. I think it's cool. But I'm a diehard fan. Bruce Willis, etc. But anyways, then I got a ton from, that's one of my brother Bomberman Sam's favorite game. I got a ton from disc replays. And we have a lot of disc replays around here. We have a few, we have like 5. So I kept going to those and getting everything that I could. Blah, 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 blah. Before I knew it, I was at like 400, maybe 500. And Donkey Kong series coming up. Good series. So, sorry, I got sidetracked. Disc replays was 400 or 500. Then I had to start on my local Facebook groups. I had to start buying in like big quantities from them. Donkey Kong Jr. Math. It's an expensive one. I think that's about 80, if I remember right. Double Dare. Double Dragon, that's... Actually, I heard that's a tough series. I have Double Dragon 2 CIB, that's why it's not there. But anyways, yeah. So I started buying in big, like from collectors on the Facebook groups. Started buying in big quantities. Like they were selling, and then shout out to Dan the Man. If you ever check this out. I bought a ton off of him. He was selling his entire collection. He didn't have he had a complete Super Nintendo collection, but he had like 500 or 600 NES games as well. He filled a lot of gaps for me. And then before I knew it, I started piecing them out on eBay, the pricier ones. And before I knew it, I was there. Then I got the one and only Stadium Events Grail from Retro Bobby. Shout out to him. And yeah, before I knew it, I had it complete. I'm going to throw some more games up, and then I'm going to continue telling you how I recommend doing big libraries like this for NES or Super Nintendo, etc. to keep track and the best ways. Alright, so as I was saying, if you're going to attempt to do a library like NES or Super Nintendo or a big library, what I prefer is print off a list. We printed off like price charting. And the reason that hold on real quick, Dragon Fighter, that is a big boy. That's like a $200-300 game. That's a big boy. Definitely one of my last, and definitely one of the hardest to get in good condition and for a fair price. And again, when I say hard to get, of course you can get on eBay, but one thing you're going to find out is that on eBay you have eBay Dreamers. So to be able to find them in good condition, mint condition, and for a fair price, that's what I mean by hard to get, and hard to find in the wild too. So anyways, we printed off price charting in alphabetical order, and the reason why is because you get the price with it. So you get like a little guideline of how much each game is worth. What I did was I just took a highlighter every time I got one and crossed through it. I think that's the easiest way. DuckTales and DuckTales 2, by the way. Really good games. And DuckTales 2 is actually expensive. I think it's like 120, 150, I think. But yeah, so just a paper, highlighter, cross them off as you get them. Keep the papers with you all the time. And also I use Game Value Now, which is an app to put them in. I personally think that's the easiest way. That's just my opinion, but that's how I did it, and I did not get any doopies. I did not get any extras, and I did it right. Everything was good. That's how I would recommend doing it. I love black box games. I want to get the black box games CIB, all of them. Just have the set. I love them. Back to All-Star Softball. That's the game that I was talking about. That's kind of pricey. I think $40, $50 if I remember right. Something like that for that game. It's kind of, you wouldn't expect that. But anyways, that's how I would do it if I were you. It's just my opinion. I'm just trying to give some tips on how I did it. And I just think that that's the best way, because you have the price for a guideline, like I said. Because it gets tough, man. Like, I actually have a really good memory for this kind of stuff. So I just kind of knew what I had by looking at it. Knew I hadn't seen it before. But some of them get crazy. Like, the sports games, like, you know, I think I said double dare at the beginning. Double dribble. I don't know what I said. But anyway, you just have so many games that are super similar. And it gets really hard to keep track. But I think I'm going to do one more row. And then call it a day on this episode. There will be more videos to come. And I'm going to try to do them quicker, like I said. It's only a couple days since my last episode. So one more row, and we'll call it a day. Alright, so this will be the last row. And I understand that I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to some of the grails and demi-grails. I do plan on doing a video of that's a kind of expensive game, like 50 to 70. I do plan on doing like a video on the grails to tell you which grails are good, which are not that good, how much they are. That's another one that's like $70, I think. Around $70 for Felix Cat. That's a really minty label too, by the way. So yeah, that's what I plan to do. So I'll have a video that has more attention to them and explaining them and things like that. That's why I'm kind of just keeping it going. There's like 677 or 678 games to get through. That's why I'm trying to do them quick. Fire and Ice, that's a big boy. I think that's like 120, 150 somewhere around there. Yeah, that one was one of the later ones to get. Because most of the labels are real beat up. So it's hard to get. I wanted them all in good condition. The big boys. This is what I was telling you about why I keep the list and use a highlighter to mark them out. Because you can't remember all these. Look, Fisher Price. I can remember. What are the odds of that? Fisher Price, I can remember. Anyway, so look, there's like 3 Fisher Price games, right?
Fisher Price.
Yeah, so it gets confusing. Fist of the North Star. That was one of the later ones, I know that. This was one of the later ones too. This is not the expensive one though. This one's only like 10, 15 bucks. There's one that's like $800.
$800?
Flying Dragon. Flying Warriors. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to give a little more tips along the way in some of the other episodes, but I'm just trying to get through them all. I mean, look, there's so many. So many, it's just like endless. And I don't have the time to play every single one of them.
Oh, definitely not.
Like, very long, you know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely not on camera too.
30 minutes even do.
But, yeah. So that'll be it for this episode. A couple days I'll try to get another episode going for you guys. I hope you enjoy it. Please leave constructive criticism and comments of your favorite games and things like that. Until next time,
Peace out.
peace out.